Happy Wednesday. That is Billy Horner. My name is Keith Rad. This is Slice of Life, the show with the Brooklyn Cyclones where we try to put some smiles on your timeline. Everyone is just itching to get outside, go out back to real world, but not quite yet. But hopefully this show will make today just a little bit better. Billy, I've got a wedding coming up at the end of the year. Hopefully it doesn't get postponed. So far, still on the calendar. But we start your social slice with weddings today.
Yeah, so for my social slice, I'm going to go old man on you here for a minute, Keith. Weddings. Somewhere over the last half century, weddings have gone from two people saying "I do" in front of their friends, maybe pop a bottle of champagne, jumping in a car with some cans tied to the end, into a Hollywood production filled with lights and smoke machines and choreographed dances. But I'm a simple man, Keith. I would have married my wife on the front lawn of my house. Or like in this case, in the middle of a street. So last weekend in Washington, D.C., Amanda Mason and her fiance, Aaron Myers, tied the knot in a ceremony that was just, for my purposes, just perfect. The couple was originally scheduled to get married on April 25th. Due to the pandemic, it was rescheduled for November. But Colette I'm going to butcher this name. Marchesini. I'm going to go with that. Marchesini, who's the unofficial mayor of Walter Street, where they live in Washington, D.C., said they should keep the same date. Everything's already in place. But the block would come together and put on a wedding for them. And that's exactly what they did. So Colette distributed poster board to every house on the block so they can make signs. Children drew hearts and rainbows all over the sidewalk and the street. Neighbors took their Christmas lights out to sort of give some ambiance to the street and the lighting. It was absolutely perfect. They had their Myers' father was supposed to officiate the wedding, so he joined via Zoom on an altar that was made out of bags filled with leaves and flowers from people's front yards. It was very understated, but also like when you look at these pictures, it's perfect. And it's the kind of thing that you're going to remember forever. So now all this is well and good. And it's a beautiful wedding that nobody will ever forget. But what really got me was learning more about this street. I grew up in Brooklyn. I went to school in Philadelphia, two places not necessarily known for being hospitable, being very friendly. But Walter Street in Washington, D.C. sounds like Sesame Street. There's a story about a woman who moved in and they told her, oh, you don't have any tools, no problem, we'll take care of you, you don't need to buy anything. So she texted a neighbor and said, I'm going to do some yard work, can I borrow a rake? And 5 people showed up with rakes. Like people she didn't even ask, just showed up with rakes. So every year they put on a Halloween festival on this block where they get thousands of people to come to Walter Street to go trick-or-treating, because this is like Mulberry, man. This is like time stood still on this block. It's absolutely perfect. On the 4th of July, they have a block party where the north side of the block faces the south side of the block, and a pie-eating contest and water balloons. Like, this is outrageous. I grew up in Brooklyn where you didn't talk to your neighbors ever. You put your head down. You minded your own business. And these people are best friends and putting on weddings for people. It's absolutely outrageous and something that I'm here for. I love this story. I love this neighborhood. And I'm actually thinking of having my kids make a wedding card and sending them to these people because this story was just perfect.
This is a lot to unpack because Walter Street seems insane. Plus, she's probably thinking all these people would be invited to a wedding somewhere else anyway. Let's just have it now. We're all bored. That's amazing. I mean, I grew up on a fairly nice block on Long Island, and everyone would if someone was doing yard work, all the dads would go over and have a beer, and the moms would make food, and we'd go over. But this is another level of turning out. So quite a find. And I will say that wedding sounds fairly cost-effective, Bill, for those of us.
Incredibly cost-effective, which was the first thing that caught my eye. And I wanted to bring it to your attention just in case you guys have maybe some dinner chat later on today. Hey, look at this cool story Billy found. Maybe save yourself a couple bucks. But this thing, it's like, it really is. It's out of like a movie from the 50s. Like Leave It to Beaver should have been at this block party. It's interesting to say the least.
Good find. My favorite social slice. This video has been making its rounds on the internet. For some reason, I can't look away. It is a throwback to 1991 when Princess Diana ran the mums race. Not the mom's race, the mums race during field day for Prince Harry. Check it out. Billy, a couple of things. Seeing moms in like normal clothes running across a field is fascinating to me. I mean, it's just like the most primal thing a human can do. And it's just even more funny that you're wearing normal clothes. And I'm also blown away and thrilled that nobody blew a hammy, because if you told my mom or my dad, hey, just out of the blue, 30 yards, boom, go. Somebody's going down before they get to the 30-yard marker.
Yeah, the thing that intrigued me the most about this is I tried to put myself in that situation, or put my wife in that situation. If you're racing against Princess Diana, you're taking a dive. Like, I'm not going to try to race her for real. Like, she's got to win. That's Princess Di, man. Like, you don't mess around with that. She's got to win. She's got the crown and everything. Don't mess with that.
If she asked me, I'd probably say I choose not to run. Time for some chicken parm heroes. My chicken parm hero today is not pictured, but instead his kids are pictured. Throw up the photo, Brendan, if you could. This is Ryan, Rory, and Griffin, 6 years old, 4 years old, and 18 months old, wearing the scrubs of their favorite doctor, Dr. Josh Skurlock, also known as Dad. He's the hero here, but these kids show us that heroes don't need to be celebrated, don't need to be, Pete Alonso, Aaron Judge. Wearing Dad scrubs is like wearing those jerseys of your favorite player. I love that. Dad turns out to be the chief general surgery resident in Massachusetts, and he's a hero for these kids. I'm not a parent, Bill, but I know I looked up to my parents for what they did. They were always my heroes as a kid. So this is just cool to see.
Yeah, it's very cool to see. And the thing, I was actually talking about this with my wife recently, was that you think about all these people and how hard they're working and all that stuff, but it's also got to be incredibly tough for them because they're not around their families and they're working longer hours than they normally do. Plus, some of them aren't going to feel comfortable coming home to see their kids and be around them after what they're around every day. So to have the kids support and have that picture that you're going to be able to throw up in your office or keep in your car or put it in your wallet or whatever you want to do with it, just to sort of keep in mind what you're doing it for. That's a great memory for sure. My chicken parm hero is Chef Jose Andres, who has he's been awarded Michelin stars for his prowess in the kitchen, but he's also the founder of the World's Central Kitchen, which over the last few years, I guess, has been getting some notoriety for its work in Puerto Rico and other areas that have been impacted by natural disasters. It's a not-for-profit that provides meals in the wake of natural disasters. And in a situation like this, it's a little different from what they're used to, where there's normally sort of a central location for a disaster or people that are in need. But when you're dealing with a global pandemic, it's a little bit of a different situation. But what Jose has done with this organization is pretty spectacular on multiple levels. They're feeding people, but the way he does it is he sort of outsources it to local restaurants so that the restaurants are able to stay in business. They're able to employ their chefs and their waiters and servers and everything to keep them employed and have the money come in for them. So those are obviously two great things that are going on. But just recently, this weekend, I sort of saw something that he had done that was a little bit different from anything that I had seen up to this point, because there's a ton of people doing great stuff, giving food and to people in need, whether it be first responders or people that just don't have food at this point because they're out of job and whatever. So he turned Camden Yards in Baltimore, where the Orioles play, into a distribution center, and they gave out 20,000 meals on Saturday. And he's been doing additional work in Baltimore, where there's 10 school districts that are in Baltimore in the areas around Camden Yards, where they're personally delivering meals twice a week to the families of all these students in these homes. In Washington, D.C., he's turned Nationals Park into a distribution center where they're giving free food to first responders and frontline workers. But it's not just in those two areas. I mean, he's doing this all over the country, all over the place. So it's a chef who obviously is great at his craft, but he just gets it. And, when you see interviews with him, the passion he has for why he's doing this, and that food is a basic right for people to have. It's just beautiful to see, and someone working as hard and as tirelessly to make sure that everybody gets what they need.
Yeah, the longer this thing goes on, you kind of see more and more the trickle down effect of what gets affected. And you listen to like Governor Cuomo, and he's talking about food pantries are, they're needing a ton of food because everybody's going to the store and buying canned food and non-perishable items. So that's a trickle down effect that you really don't think about until it happens. I mean, when you were going to the store those first couple of weeks, there weren't eggs for like 10 days, and everybody decided that they like baked beans again, So Chef Andres is definitely incredible, and we always love the sports tie-in, don't we? So
of course,
love that. Speaking of sports, we'll jump into that now. I'm going to go right back to you. The Altoona Curve, fair to say the old stomping grounds of a young baseball executive, Billy Harner.
Yeah, so the Altoona Curve were foolish enough to give me my first job in professional baseball, a full-time job, I should say. So they're the AA affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's located in central Pennsylvania, in Blair County, so a little bit south of central, a little bit more western. It's Pittsburgh Pirate territory for sure. So when you first arrive at PNG Field, there's two things that you're going to notice immediately. In right field, they have a roller coaster. We think we have a roller coaster that's close to us in Coney Island. There's a roller coaster in right field that gets peppered with home runs during batting practice. It is reach out and touch it close to the ballpark. So that's the first thing you'll notice. The second thing you'll notice is the unmistakable smell that smacks you right in the nostrils of cinnamon toasted nuts. Just saying the words, just chef's kiss. It's just, I'm ready for it. So last night, obviously, they're a full season affiliate of the Pirates, and baseball is not in play currently. So last night, they turned their stadium, thanks to the people from Nuts for You, into a distribution center for frontline workers. They gave out close to 1,200 bags of nuts, and they gave away kettle corn from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock last night. They did everything socially distanced in a drive-through manner, and they ended it right at 8 o'clock for what has become the Illumination Celebration at 8 o'clock in western central PA in the Altoona area, where what we do here at 7 o'clock, where everybody cheers for first responders, they do it there called the Illumination Celebration. Everybody turns on their porch lights. Everybody turns on their lights for their business, and it's a way of celebrating the first responders there. So very cool idea, very cool way to give back. And it's just another example of we see, across the country of these minor league facilities that are really the heart and soul of communities that don't have big league teams. So great job with the Curve. Great job hiring me and getting me started in this. And, this might be your second best decision, I guess, after that.
Forever grateful. I remember learning at school when I was a kid that movie theaters, they used to during it and before intermissions of movies, they would pump in smells of popcorn, and then apparently that became illegal. But the point is, you smell popcorn, you really want popcorn. And so for this place to sell cinnamon roasted nuts, that's what people are probably missing the most in Altoona, just that smell, because that smell is going to bring you back to feeling like you're at the field. Or at least me walking down 48th and 7th when you're like, what is that smell? Oh, cinnamon roasted nuts on the sidewalk. That's pretty insane. So I love that, because we just want to get just something that feels like base. I just want to go touch grass. I live in the city. It's the concrete jungle, which is cool, but grass would be great every once in a while, or just walk on or something like that. So
yeah, there's always some type of smell that you have or something that that brings you back to a memory, whether it's something that's cooking or the smell like fresh cut grass and you went to your first baseball game. Our sense of smell sort of brings us instantly back to someplace. So it sort of brings people to a happier time and memories of being at the ballpark. So great idea. Delicious food too, by the way.
My sports story comes with a little disclaimer. For those of you out there who haven't picked up on it yet, nobody knows anything about what's going on right now. Nobody. So the latest in these crazy baseball talks of how are we going to get baseball back? Are they going to play in Arizona, Japan, the moon? Where are they going to play? So the most recent story came out just this week. potentially splitting up baseball into 3 regional, and I put regional in quotes, regional divisions, 10 teams in it. I was reading this and I was just thinking about the possibilities. You'd have the Yankees, the Mets in the same division, and then you'd have, of course, the Red Sox, Nats, Phillies, Pirates. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but like these are those rivalries that you'd have in like college sports, the regional rivalries. You'd actually get them this time. So will it happen? I don't know. Will all the other plans happen? Probably not. But this was certainly cool for the possibilities of like Yankees, Mets 20 times a year.
Yeah, and this is, like you said, this is nobody knows what's going on. There's all these different theories. I think I read something today where there's 20 different proposals for what could potentially happen. So this is just one of 20. But the idea of basically breaking down baseball by time zone, I think, is basically what it comes down to, where you have the Eastern time zone and then Central and then the Mountain and West are sort of thrown together. So it's an interesting idea. You're still going to have a lot of travel, and you're still going to have people going from places like Toronto to New York and places like Tampa to New York. And there's still some flights involved, and not everything's going to be bus trips like AA. So there's a lot of things that are going to need to be figured out. But it's nice to dream. It would be a pretty cool idea to have, the Mets and the Yankees and, the Mets and the Red Sox, who you get to see once every 4 years or so, playing each other a bunch of times, and the Nationals playing the Yankees, which you don't see all the time. So it would be interesting. There's some new rivalries and some new opponents in your ballpark. But like you said, who knows? Flip a coin, man. Come up with a new story every day about, no, they're going to play in Arizona. No, they're going to play in Arizona, Florida, and Texas. No, they're just going to play on the moon. They're going to play in Japan. Like, just sit around and be quiet. Somebody will give us the answer when they figure out what they're going to do. But it's nice to have some sports to at least think about, that they're at the point where they're coming up with an exit strategy, so to speak. So,
yeah, I didn't really want this show to turn into First Take, where we're just living on hypotheticals for 4 hours. But Bill, we have nothing else, so this is where we are. So maybe it's a possibility, and maybe I'll get married this December in the middle of 70th Street. So who knows? But appreciate.
We just had a movie outside. If you want to have a wedding, I got a guy. We can take care of it for you.
All right, Bill. Good stuff, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Take care.